If you're a solopreneur that is building the next big company, there are more than enough things going through your head. And for that exact reason, I will show you all of my apps that I'm using over the course of my day to stay productive while working, so you can get more done way quicker. I'm a computer science student, so obviously we're starting out with something to write down all of our notes. And for this, I'm using Notability. It's not free. I don't even remember how much it costs. It cost like 10 bucks like 3 years ago. They might have raised the price at this point. I'll just blend it in right here. And Notability makes it quite easy to just go and create subjects, organize all of your notes in it, write things down. I'm using an iPad for taking notes, and it also allows you to just paste in PDFs and keep everything collected in one place, so that makes things a lot simpler. They do also feature syncing everything to Google Drive and exporting your entire note documents as PDFs as well, so you're not gonna be stuck with them forever in case you ever decide to switch your app that you want to use for it, or just you just want to have the PDFs lying around somewhere. They do have a premium paid version, which is a subscription model. I have never used it. I don't really need it. There is the option out there in case you want to try it out, but the base version is definitely good enough. And what would a video like this be without mentioning VS Code? Since you're watching my channel, you probably know VS Code. It's the #1 text editor out there for writing code. The extensions range from very useful extensions like code linters to brain rot extensions like live Subway Surfer gameplay and having pets on your code editor. You can adjust all of your keybinds, you can change the themes, everything that makes a great code editor great. I like VS Code over other more bulky IDEs like IntelliJ or CLion or Visual Studio 2022, I think is the current version, because it's just not as bulky. There is a lot less features, but it's also a lot lighter because there is so much stuff that you just don't need for certain areas of development. Sure, an IDE has its reason to be there because they can speed up things a tremendous amount, but for me, I'm totally fine with using VS Code. I just love the speed of it. For building things with VS Code, you first of all need to know what to build, and you have to plan things out. And for that, I use Notion. Notion is a note-taking app that is pretty advanced because you're not just writing notes regularly. There is also plenty of things and, for example, boards and databases and other stuff that you can import. There are bullet lists, there are to-dos, there are math symbols, everything that you need. And for planning the project themselves, I just throw up a Kanban board connected to a database, and then I can just write a ticket for each and everything that I have to do, drag it to in progress or to finished, and then I have an exact overview of what my current progress with my project is like. I do use Notion as well for writing my scripts, although I'm also on the free tier, and eventually your space is gonna run out. But the free tier is pretty extensive, so unless you're collaborating, you don't really have to pay for anything. If you reach the point where the free tier is not enough, you should definitely delete some things. Another great thing that I actually forgot to mention with Notability and Notion is that if you have the mobile app, it will sync. Notability is not available for Android, and I'm an Android user, but Notion is, so everything that I do on Notion on my desktop PC or on my MacBook is gonna show up in my app. So if I have to write anything down while I'm on the go, it'll just sync without any issues. If you're building projects yourself, there is absolutely no way around having to go and create designs for things. And for creating designs, there are two pretty cool tools. One is Canva and one is Figma. Canva is cool for creating logos. There is a ton of props. I'm using the premium. I pay like 12 bucks a month for it. It's really extensive. It allows me to remove the backgrounds from images in seconds, so I don't have to use GIMP and cut everything out by hand. If there are some ad banners that I have to create, I will use Canva for that as well. And on the other hand, Figma is great for creating mock-ups of screens. So if I have no idea how I want my screen to look like, I don't have to try everything out by programming it. I can just create a design in Figma, shift things around like that, group elements together so they stay together, and then play around with it and see what I like most and how I want my finished product to look like without having to waste a ton of time implementing things and then scrapping it all over again because it's just ugly. Something that's pretty weird about Figma though is that you cannot do anything from your phone or your tablet. So if you want to change a design, you have to be on a desktop PC, and you can only view things while you're on the go, which is, I don't get it. And last but not least, my favorite browser of all time is Arc. I fell in love with Arc because, first of all, it has a vertical navigation bar. You cannot imagine how many times I have asked God to give me a browser with a vertical navigation bar, because on 16:9 screens, throwing another block of like static stuff at the top makes all of your websites just so narrow. It's so horrible, and Arc fixes that by just giving you that vertical sidebar, and all the websites look amazing again. They do feature different spaces for when you're at work and when you're, for example, just at home with your procrastination tabs. There are folders for all of your tabs, everything that you know. But the key selling point of Arc is that there's a feature which allows you to auto-close tabs if you're not using them for long enough. I think the default is 24 hours, so if you tend to use your PC or MacBook for extended periods of time and you just kind of forget about all the tabs, it'll just auto-close them and all of your spaces will be clean again. It takes some getting used to, but in the end, it's pretty cool. I love it. I would never go back. And we're done already. There is something for you to watch over here as always, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.